Namaste all, and welcome to our continuing series on the life divine with our beloved Ranga. Today Ranga is going to give us a synopsis, would you say, of this very difficult chapter, Reality and the Cosmic Illusion.
This chapter is one of the most difficult chapters because it's full of logic and we have to follow the logic. And over 40 pages, he keeps referring back to something on 20th page, something on the 30th page. So you have to keep a track of everything. What have you read at that time? So I've tried to note down, but it's very difficult. So, what is the problem and what is the solution he is offering? That we will discuss today without the text. Okay. On the one hand, we have a physical world which seems to be very, very real. Nobody doubts that it is not real. Okay. There is a continuity, there is a meaningfulness, there is no doubting that that table is real or not. There is no doubt at all in a man who is living in the physical world and using his senses and mind to understand things. So what is his problem? The thing is, in India, so many people have raised their consciousness to the consciousness of the self. So what is the self? It's a consciousness above body, life and mind. So above, if you go above the mind, what goes above the mind? Your consciousness. When it goes above the mind, you enter into the Brahmic consciousness. You can call it whatever you want, and how can you describe it? You can say it is indescribable because there are no features. It is static, it is featureless, it is eternal and infinite.
Can you tell us how Sri Aurobindo tells us how to make that leap into those spiritual ranges?
That is given in all the yogas in India by concentration, by aspiration. There are 4 or 5 paths to it. Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga.
Any one of them?
Yeah, anyone you can get that result. There is so many yogas, you can always raise your consciousness to that level. Some, of course, take you to devotion side. Some take you to the knowledge side. So the ones that take you to the knowledge side, this is what he is discussing. So Sri Aurobindo himself had no doubt that the physical world is real, and he put all his energies into the freedom movement in India. He was the first, actually, to start the movement. So the question in the life divine is, the world is real or unreal? Why does this question come up at all? Because when you make your mind silent, what happened to Sri Aurobindo in Baroda, he suddenly found that he is in a consciousness which is static, no movement at all, something which is looking at things without judgment, just watching things. This is red, that is green, that is yellow, no judgment. Good or bad doesn't enter. You're just watching everything and you're watching perfectly. You see everything that is there but without judgment. At our level, judgment is coming in all the time and we see things but with a twisted, because we want to see something. Desire is there. At that level, no desire at all. Just sheer, absolute tranquility, poise and a sense of infinity. And the feeling that this is absolutely real. In contrast to that, the world becomes unreal. What is meant by unreal? You can either see it as only images on a screen, or you can see that it has no substance, everything that is floating, no substance, and it is also ephemeral, transient. That consciousness of the Brahmic consciousness is not transient. It is permanent and static. And this is transient and not static, in constant movement. So what is there now is not there next time. And this experience is so convincing that you are convinced that the physical world is unreal. Buddhism, Mayavada, Shankara, all the other yogis whose names we did not even mention. So this is the problem that Swami is dealing throughout life divine. Throughout life divine. Is the world real or not? And if it is real, what is its purpose? Why was it created at all? All sorts of small explanations can come, like reincarnation and this and that. But if it's only a place where you develop your consciousness, you come down from the heights of your original knowledge, you come down, take a body, mind, life, have experiences, grow a little and go back. What does it do for the world? The world simply is a ground for your training. So individuals are escaping, but the earth remains in suffering, pain and limitation and cruelty and all falsehood. So that is what Swami is bothered about, and he says that cannot be accepted. So this real, you have to prove that the physical world is real, first of all, that there is a purpose to manifestation. So this is the discussion that he is having in this chapter now. So on the one hand the world is real, and on the other hand you have this experience of the world being just something like an image on a screen. In the earlier days they used to describe it, the Vedantic philosophy, as an image in a mirror. Now that image in the mirror, you can see it as real or you can see it as unreal. You know it's only a reflection. But go back to the animal level, even sometimes babies, you will see videos which are very interesting. They go to the mirror and they say, "Arey, that man." So they go behind to see what is there. There are cats, monkeys, and even babies who find the image real. That's our condition. The physical world is nothing but a transient images, and we think it is real. Okay? So this is the problem that he has to solve. So in all processes of knowledge, there are three things that come into contention. Number one, the percipient. Who is the percipient? Who is the percept, or which is the percept? And what is it that links to them, the perception? So when you say the world is unreal, who is perceiving this unreality is the first question that comes up. Second question, the perception also is there. So when there is something which you took for granted is real, you suddenly find it unreal, you have to find out which is the problem. Is it the perception, is it the percept, or is it the percipient? Okay. So that is the discussion that takes place in this chapter, and it's a very complicated thing. I'll just give you a few hints how he does. So he starts first with the world is real. Let's take it as real. If the world is real, how are you seeing it as unreal? That's the question that comes up. So is the problem with the perception, or is it a problem with the percipient? Now if the world is real, the percipient, man, is produced by the physical world. So the physical world can produce only something real. Your body, your mind and your life is all coming from the universe. So if the universe is real, the human being also is bound to be real. Reality cannot produce an unreality. That's the argument. So the human being or the percipient has to be real. So it boils down to the perception. There is a problem with the perception. So this he will take up last at what that perception is. Then now you start examining the other one. You start seeing whether the world is unreal. Now you start with the other one. And then again apply the logic. So every time you are starting with a theory or a hypothesis, you have to examine the other two. So you can see the number of combinations that come in. World is real, percipient is real or unreal, perception is real or unreal. World is unreal, what about the percipient and what about this one? So you can see the number of combinations. Now you have dealt with the world, now come to the individual. Is the individual real or not? Okay, so materialism says that the individual is not really real in that sense because he is a product of matter. Matter is only reality and matter is producing you and producing you for a short while. 1 week, 10 days, 20 days, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. Then you vanish. Where is the reality? So that is how you start. So this way you go on, and every time you see that each of these positions corresponds to a philosophy which exists already in the world. See, take matter is real, you have materialism. Okay, the human being not essentially real because he is produced by and is an ephemeral production. So this way he goes on each one to see, and then finally he gives us. Then you have Buddhism. The world is unreal. Then you have Vedanta, which says that the world is real as well as the ultimate supreme reality is also real. Then there is Shankara, who says that the world is real in time and space, but not permanently. It's not static, nor is it eternal. It is infinite. But its reality is semi-reality. Semi-reality can be explained by the rainbow, for instance, or the blue sky. In this we have said many times. There is no blue there at all, and yet you are perceiving it to be blue. So the problem is the perception. Okay. So this way he goes on, and finally he boils it down to, he comes to his own theory. His own theory is that the physical world is real, the supreme reality is real, and the supreme reality is producing the world, and in this production of the world, there is a small problem. The supreme reality is infinite, eternal, permanent, static, but without form. No form. So if it has to create a world, if it has to manifest itself, it has to create forms. It has to create forms. Now form is necessarily limitation. Without limitation you can't have a form. All forms are limited in space and time. So limitation means you are not seeing the whole, you are seeing only parts. So your perception is at fault. Okay, so this is the thing. So how is that perception at fault? He comes down to the theories, the Upanishadic theory, his own theory, that there is a gradation. So we have this now. There is a supreme reality. There is a physical world which is also real in time and space, but it is full of imperfection and limitation. So at our level, we are seeing the physical world through our senses and the mind. The animal is seeing only through the senses. Now, are the senses perfect? Are they capable of seeing the reality? Certainly not. I can be colorblind and what I am seeing is not the reality. If I am deaf like I am, I can't hear sounds. So that is, I hear silence. I hear silence. But there is sound there. So I am not seeing the reality. And also, the senses vary from person to person and from species to species. The eagles can see 10 times better than us. The dogs can smell 10 times better than us. Okay? And also, they are made of different types. Take our eyes. They are static. But the chameleon can go on changing its and focus where it wants. So there is a different way of seeing. This knowledge coming through the senses is not fixed and one. It depends on how your senses are made. Okay? So finally you have this, that there are, the Upanishads say, that there are 4 levels of reality and existence. There are 4 levels. The first level is a gross world, in which you are using your senses, which are limited. So you are not seeing the whole reality. The next is the subtle world, subtle matter. There, forms are already more fluid and not so fixed as it is here. Then above that is the cause, the causal world. Okay? So that's a causal world. Then there is nothing even beyond that, because after all, reality is infinite. So beyond that is the unmanifest, undefinable, indescribable, ineffable. Nobody has gone there to see and come back to give a report. You may go there, but you can't come back to give a report. Because once you have gone there, you are sucked into that reality and not this one. So you have this gradation of reality at the gross level, subtle level, causal level, and even beyond. And these regions are not marked off with clear, definite lines of separation. They merge into one another, like the rainbow colors. Okay? So, even while I'm here with my body consciousness, my consciousness can be spiritual. It can go up. Okay? So, this is what he discusses, and the problem is the instrumentation that you are using. At our level, we are using instruments of senses and mind. At the dream state, what is called the dream state of the subtle world, you are using other means of knowledge. You are using vision, drishti, which is not depending on physical eyes. Okay. Then you are using also the intuition. And finally, at the highest level, you are using identity. You become what you want to know. So this is the gradation and this is the reality. So the problem is not whether the world is real or this God is real, but how you are seeing these things. So you come back to the problem of knowledge and ignorance. Ignorance is the lowest level where you are seeing only partially the truth. You go to the highest level, you are seeing everything fully. So that's knowledge. So knowledge is defined as seeing the oneness of things, the totality. Ignorance is defined as seeing the many and thinking that they are real.
So would it be knowledge or wisdom?
Pardon?
Would it be knowledge or wisdom?
It's a word that you use. You can call it wisdom if you want. Mm-hmm. But knowledge is the word. They use the words, English words, knowledge and ignorance, because in Sanskrit you have vidya and avidya. So it's vidya and avidya. So that's the thing. So then he discusses each theory. Okay. There is a theory which says that the world is real. The supreme existence is real. So the human soul comes down, takes birth, it's a training ground for him to get back into knowledge. Then why if he has to come here and go down again, what is the purpose? What is being achieved by your coming down and going back again? So there has to be a purpose in the creation of the universe. The existentialism, there is no purpose. You just accept the limitations and you accept it and say there's nothing I can do about it. But Srinivasa says, no, there is something that you can do about it. And then comes in the theory of evolution. Evolution in the West was discovered only 150, 200 years ago. And that also is only physical evolution. But in our Dashavatar, the theory of evolution was already 5,000 years ago, at least, okay, where there is a growth in the physical world of consciousness from a lower level to a higher level to a higher level to a higher level. And every time there's a transition, there's an avatar that comes in and takes the level of consciousness to the next level. to the next level, to the next level. That's why it's not only Ramakrishna, Sri Krishna, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Buddha who are avatars. Even the lowest level is an avatar. What is an avatar? It is the divine consciousness coming down into the opposite of consciousness and forcing it to grow towards consciousness. So the tortoise, the turtle, is an avatar. It goes from water to land. Then in land also there is a boar. Okay? So this way, all these are also divine incarnations. So you have these 10 incarnations, and the evolution, each time the avatar is taking the evolution one step forward, one step forward, one step forward. So the next step, Shrevda is already, which is evolution of spiritual evolution. But what is interesting is that the spiritual evolution must have the physical evolution as a support. They go parallel together. Every time there is a growth of consciousness, the body must be capable of that. I give you a very easy example. The animal sees only sense through the senses. The human being is seeing through the senses, but also the mind. So it has gone one step more. Okay? So this way, the yogi has gone even one higher up. So the instruments of knowledge are changing, and there is a growth of consciousness in the physical world. But the animal is built in such a way, the human being, if he is built in the same way, he will not be able to go to a higher level. He has to have a brain. And note interestingly that what is the brain? I'll go back to the beginning. In the beginning, there's only matter. But the next level is life. Matter is dead, but life comes in. So how does life come in? The higher level of life enters into the physical world and changes matter. Matter is changed. There is a difference between brute matter and living matter. All animals and all living creatures are matter into which life has been put in. So it's a one step higher. Similarly, our brain is matter into which mind has been put in. So now Srivamda's contention is that the supermind will come down into matter and produce a substance which will be superior to brain, and it will be capable of that. That is the reason why you need a physical evolution. So this is what Srivamda has said, that this will be the next stage of evolution, is the supermind. So that's a discussion, and the knowledge and the ignorance, next section is that. Then final chapter he comes to the evolution, spiritual evolution. So this chapter, this 44 pages chapter, okay, is only one part of the discussion to show where the problem is. And the problem is the instruments that you use. And it's very true. If I want to see at the atomic level or even at the cell level, I can't use my eyes. I have to use my different instrumentation. I have to use a microscope. If I want to see 500 light years away what is there in the universe, I need a telescope. So you are using instruments. As the instrumentation goes on changing, your knowledge also goes on changing. So this is the final solution to the reality and the unreality of the world.
Chapter 7, the knowledge and the ignorance.
Chapter 7, the knowledge and the ignorance.
Page 499.
Yeah. So I read the quotations first.
Good.
And then we'll. So it's not a question of whether the world is real or the world is unreal, nor is it that is there a supreme reality or not. Both are real. The problem is with as I said, the instrumentation. So you come down to knowledge and the ignorance. So let the knower distinguish the knowledge and the ignorance. Rig Veda. Two are there, hidden in the secrecy of the infinite, knowledge and the ignorance. But perishable is the ignorance, immortal is the knowledge. Another than they is he who rules over both the knowledge and the ignorance. This is from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. A small comment on this particular Shvetashvatara Upanishad. When you are in the physical world, you are in ignorance. If you are seeing the many and taking it to be real, you are not seeing the oneness. When you go to the second level of the spiritual planes of consciousness, you are seeing the oneness and you are already seeing the knowledge, not the ignorance. You go to the third level and you see both as real and both as meaningful. So, that is what he is saying. He is using the word he with a H cap. He is referring to the Purushottama. So, in the Gita we have three levels. The first level is the Kshara Purusha. Kshara means the transient, the mutable Purusha. You and I are all mutable. We are changing every minute, every hour. What we were when we were a baby is not what we are when we are mutable. And we will even disappear one day. The second is the Akshara, the static, the permanent. There's the spiritual planes of consciousness. According to Sri Aurobindo, there are 4 planes there. Higher mind, element mind, intuitive mind, overmind. The third level is the supermind, which combines both and sees both as real, and that's a Purushottama, Uttama Purusha. So, Kshara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, Uttama Purusha. That is at that level, the Uttama Purusha is not the supermind. Supermind is much vaster. The Uttama Purusha is an aspect of the supermind. Okay? So, Sri Aurobindo is saying that is the next stage of evolution. The supermind will come down here. That's a quotation from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Note the words carefully. 2 are there, hidden in the secrecy of the infinite. The knowledge and the ignorance. But perishable is the ignorance at level 1. Immortal is the knowledge at level 2. Another than they is he who rules over both the knowledge and the ignorance, level 3.
Yes, I remember in the one of the quotes in the synthesis, I believe. All that is he, and he is the more than all that is. That's basically
He is the Purushottama.
Yes.
In which the Purushottama, in the spiritual planes of consciousness, normally you see the impersonal aspect of the divine. You see, you have access to knowledge, power, force, love, but these are all impersonal qualities. They nirguna, as they say. But when you go to the Purushottama level, you see the personal aspect of the divine and the impersonal aspect of the divine, both. Okay, that's the third level. Okay, I go to the next quotation. 2 unborn, the knower and one who knows not, the Lord and one who has not mastery. One unborn, and in her are the object of enjoyment and the enjoyer. 2 unborn, the knower and the one who knows not. Okay? So, the knower is one who is at the spiritual level of consciousness, and the one who knows not is at our human level, in the physical world. The Lord and one who has not the mastery. Okay? So that's it. The Lord is the third level. The one who is in the spiritual world is released from ignorance. He is liberated. The soul is liberated, but he is not master. In the physical world, we think we are master, but we are actually the slaves. Universal nature is completely controlling us. We think we are controlling everything. Total illusion. It is universal nature which is controlling you. At the second level, in the spiritual planes of consciousness, you are free. You are not controlled by the universal nature at all. But you have no control over your body-mind life. But if you go to the third level, you see both as real and you have the control of the body-mind life. That's why Sri Aurobindo wants to take it to the supramental level.
Now here we have the word her.
Yeah, that's interesting. At the third level, the Lord and her is the same. They're not the same, but it is consciousness and power. Consciousness is usually spoken of as masculine, and power is usually seen as feminine.
Creative.
That's why. Okay. Actually, there is no meaning in masculine and feminine. It's just for our understanding that we use these words. There is no gender at the highest level. Mother has even had the experience of that she had a body which is genderless. No gender at all. Okay, so the last quotation. Two are joined together, powers of truth, powers of Maya. They have built the child and given him birth, and they nourish his growth. So two are joined, powers of truth. Powers of truth you can refer to consciousness. And power of Maya, okay? Maya is the power to create forms. And that you can think of as the Shakti. So, Chit and Shakti, consciousness and power. They are the two who are joined together, and they have built the child.
Last night in my Savitri class, we had the term the golden child, which occurs 2 or 3 times in Savitri. Can you give us some understanding?
In that sense, you can say that the child is created by the father and the mother. That's the child. So, who is the father? The Lord. Consciousness. And who is the mother? Shakti. So, they are creating the world, and the world is the child. Or you can also say that the human beings also are children, because the universe is created, it's a universal child. The individual is created, he is an individual child. The one and the many. So you could see it in that. Yes, the golden child in Savitri keeps coming again and again. Yes. So the child is a product of power and consciousness, Chit Shakti. Okay, so we'll read the first para and then see how it is. In our scrutiny of the 7 principles of existence, it was found that they are one in their essential and fundamental reality. For if even the matter of the most material universe is nothing but a status of being of spirit, made an object of sense, envisaged by the spirit's own consciousness as the stuff of its forms, much more must the life force that constitutes itself into form of matter, and the mind consciousness that throws itself out as life, and the supermind that develops mind as one of its powers, be nothing but spirit itself, modified in apparent substance and in dynamism of action, not modified in real essence. All are powers of the one power of being, and not other than that all existence, all consciousness, all will, all delight, which is the true truth behind every appearance. And they are not only one in their reality, but also inseparable in the 7-fold variety of their action. They are the 7 colors of the light of divine consciousness, 7 rays of the infinite, and by them the spirit has filled in on the canvas of his self-existence, conceptually extended, woven of the objective warp of space and the subjective woof of time, the myriad wonders of his self-creation, great, simple, symmetrical in its primal laws and vast framings, infinitely curious and intricate in its variety of forms and actions, and the complexities of relation and mutual effect of all upon each and each upon all. These are the 7 words of the ancient sages. By them have been created, and in the light of their meaning are worked out and have to be interpreted the developed and developing harmonies of the world we know and the worlds behind, of which we have only an indirect knowledge. The light, the sound is one. Their action is 7-fold. So each sentence requires an explanation. It is so complicated. So, I'll do one thing. I'll read the summary, and then if we have next time, we'll look at the... I believe in looking very carefully at each sentence and each word, because there are reverberations behind that one sentence, vibrations. And if you don't see those vibrations, then the next thing becomes difficult to understand. Okay, so I'm reading a summary of what he's saying here. We have completed our survey of the 7 principles of existence, all of which are intimately connected in essence. There's the upper hemisphere is Sat Chit Ananda, Gnosis. The lower hemisphere is made of mind, life, matter. So what are the 7 rays? Sat, Chit, Ananda, supermind is the upper hemisphere. The lower hemisphere, matter, life and mind. So the 7 colors are matter, life, mind, supermind. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Ananda goes to the top. So these are the 7 colors. It's like the white light, which when it comes down through a prism, breaks itself up into 7 colors. And Srimad used the Vedic image of the 7 rivers. So he says you can divide in any way you want. Mother speaks of 12 planes of consciousness. Sometimes people speak of only the spirit and matter, 2 planes. Then others say, no, there are 3 planes, 4 planes. So you can divide as you want. Because each time you climb, the characteristics of that plane change. Okay, the laws also change. So the 7 planes are this. Sat Chit Ananda, upper hemisphere. The lower hemisphere, mind, life, matter. Sat Chit Ananda and Gnosis. Gnosis is the supermind. This is the upper hemisphere, this is the lower hemisphere. These 7 principles are essentially one, even if phenomenally formulated in 7 variations. A good example of this again is ice, water, water vapor. 3 different forms, essentially the same. So if you understand the ice, water, water vapor principle, you will understand this also. So in other words, matter is divine. Life is divine. Matter is divine at a very low level. Life is divine at a slightly higher level. Mind is divine at a slightly even higher level. And then you have the other planes. So this is what saying. This is also similar to the prism that breaks up the colorless light into 7 brilliant colors of the rainbow. The supermind, with its power of Maya, creative faculty of real forms, has expressed himself. Somebody is using the word himself for supermind. In utter Ananda, as an artist who has painted this vast universe, which is infinitely variegated on the canvas of time and space. So the divine is painting the world on his canvas of time and space. That's what he's saying. Time is a warp and space is a woof. All this vast creation, however multitudinously it may appear, is really one in essence. A supreme reality which has objectivized itself in infinite forms and colors of the universe. This is, in my words, I am interpreting what he is saying.